In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Genesis, meaning beginning or origin, is a book of beginnings on many levels. It tells the story of the creation of the universe, the origin of humanity, and the beginning of God's special relationship with His chosen people. Through these stories, we'll uncover the key themes that run throughout Genesis: God's power and faithfulness, the consequences of human disobedience, the enduring nature of God's covenant, and the importance of faith and obedience. The book of Genesis is not just a book for theologians or biblical scholars, it's a book for everyone. Its stories resonate with people of all backgrounds and beliefs because they speak to universal human experiences. Genesis provides a framework for understanding our place in the world and our relationship with God. Whether you're a lifelong believer, a curious seeker, or someone simply interested in exploring the origins of Western literature and culture, Genesis has something to offer. The book of Genesis is often divided into two main sections: Primeval History and Ancestral History. Primeval History deals with the creation of the world and the early history of humanity. Ancestral History focuses on the lives of Abraham and his descendants, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. These sections are interconnected, showing how God works within human history to fulfill His purposes.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
These majestic words transport us to the dawn of time, to a moment before time itself existed. With breathtaking simplicity and power, the creation account unfolds. God speaks, and the universe springs into being. Light pierces the darkness, the sky separates from the waters, and dry land appears, teeming with life. The sun, moon, and stars ignite, illuminating the heavens and marking the passage of time. At the pinnacle of creation stands humanity, fashioned in the image of God. God entrusts Adam and Eve with the care of His creation, placing them in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and guard it. The idyllic harmony of the Garden of Eden is shattered in Genesis chapter 3 with the serpent's cunning temptation of Eve.
This fruit, it looks so good and desirable for gaining wisdom.
Eve, succumbing to temptation, takes a bite of the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, sharing it with Adam.
What have we done? Our eyes, they are opened.
In that moment, their eyes are opened and they become aware of their nakedness and their disobedience. Sin enters the world, casting a long shadow over humanity. Adam and Eve are banished from the Garden of Eden, their paradise lost. Yet, even in the midst of judgment, there is a glimmer of hope.
I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel.
The consequences of sin continue to reverberate throughout the early chapters of Genesis. Cain, driven by jealousy, murders his brother Abel, marking the first act of human-on-human violence. The world spirals further into wickedness, culminating in a global flood that wipes out all life except for Noah and his family.
God has chosen us to build an ark and preserve life. We must remain faithful.
After the flood, God makes a covenant with Noah, promising never again to destroy the earth with water. However, humanity's capacity for sin and rebellion remains, illustrated by the story of the Tower of Babel.
Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other.
Ancestral history begins with a man named Abram, later renamed Abraham, signifying father of many nations. Called by God from his homeland in Ur, Abraham embarks on a journey into the unknown, a testament to his unwavering faith.
Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you.
God promises Abraham a land, a nation, and a blessing that will extend to all families of the earth. Abraham's faith is tested time and again, yet he remains steadfast, trusting in God's promises even when they seem impossible. In a world often defined by uncertainty and doubt, Abraham's story stands as a powerful reminder of the transformative power of faith. The covenant established with Abraham continues with his son, Isaac, and grandson, Jacob. Isaac, a child of promise born to Abraham and Sarah in their old age, inherits the weight of his father's legacy. Isaac's marriage to Rebekah, a woman chosen by God, further solidifies the lineage of the covenant. From Isaac and Rebekah are born twin sons, Esau and Jacob, whose rivalry becomes a defining narrative in Genesis. Their story, filled with deception, reconciliation, and ultimately forgiveness, explores the themes of birthright, blessing, and the often winding path of God's plan. Jacob, renamed Israel after wrestling with God, fathers 12 sons who become the progenitors of the 12 tribes of Israel. Among them, Joseph, the 11th son, stands out. Blessed with prophetic dreams and favored by his father, Joseph faces the envy and resentment of his brothers. In a moment of cruelty, Joseph's brothers sell him into slavery, tearing him away from his family and homeland. Joseph's journey takes him to Egypt, where he endures hardship and injustice, yet rises to a position of power.
When famine strikes the land, I am strategically positioned to save not only Egypt, but also my own family, who come seeking aid.
The book of Genesis concludes with Jacob's family, reunited in Egypt under Joseph's protection. They find refuge and prosperity in a foreign land, their lineage preserved through God's providence. However, the concluding verses of Genesis foreshadow a future exodus, a time when the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will leave Egypt and journey to the Promised Land. Genesis ends not with a full stop, but with a comma, leaving the reader with a sense of anticipation and expectation. The stage is set for the next chapter in the unfolding drama of redemption, the story of the Exodus, where God will deliver his people from slavery and forge them into a nation. From the very first verse, Genesis proclaims the sovereignty and power of God.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
This simple yet profound statement establishes God as the ultimate source and sustainer of all that exists. The creation narrative unfolds as a majestic symphony of divine action, each day marked by God's creative word bringing forth order from chaos. The pinnacle of creation, humanity, is formed in God's image, a reflection of the divine imprinted on their very being. Despite their failures and shortcomings, God continues to work through them, shaping their destiny and drawing them closer to himself. The beauty and harmony of Eden stand in stark contrast to the consequences of sin. From Adam and Eve's disobedience to Cain's murder of Abel, sin's destructive power is evident. The serpent's deception introduces a pattern of temptation and disobedience. Stories like Noah's flood and the Tower of Babel illustrate human sin and its consequences. Yet God's grace shines through even in profound brokenness.
He spares Noah, preserving humanity and making a covenant of grace.
Throughout Genesis, we witness a recurring cycle of sin, judgment, and grace. Humanity strays, faces consequences, yet God offers forgiveness and redemption. The theme of faith and obedience is central to Genesis. Abraham's unwavering faith in God's promises, even when they seem impossible, shows the power of trust. Called to leave his homeland, Abraham embodies a faith that requires sacrifice and perseverance. His willingness to sacrifice Isaac stands as a profound example of obedience. Though agonizing, Abraham's trust in God's plan reveals the depth of his faith. This act of surrender solidifies the covenant and highlights unwavering obedience. Section 4. The Enduring Legacy of Genesis, a timeless tapestry of truth. The Book of Genesis, a foundational text for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, continues to resonate with people across cultures and centuries. Its stories, at once intimate and epic, grapple with universal human experiences, the wonder of creation, the pain of loss, the struggle with temptation, the consequences of our choices, and the enduring hope for redemption. The themes explored in Genesis, creation and covenant, sin and redemption, faith and obedience provide a framework for understanding our place in the world, our relationship with God, and the ongoing drama of the human story. Genesis reminds us that we are created beings, formed in the image of a loving God, yet prone to wander from his ways. It reveals the devastating consequences of sin, the ripple effects of our choices, and the brokenness that permeates the human experience. Yet, even in the midst of our brokenness, Genesis offers a message of hope. It reveals a God who pursues his creation relentlessly, offering forgiveness, redemption, and a path back to himself. The stories of Genesis continue to inspire, challenge, and provoke us, reminding us that we are part of a larger narrative, a story woven through generations by a God who is faithful to his promises. As we delve into the rich tapestry of Genesis, we uncover timeless truths about ourselves, our world, and the God who created it all. Section 1, Genesis, a wellspring of wisdom. The book of Genesis, though written millennia ago, speaks to us today with a relevance that transcends time and culture. Its stories, etched in the ancient imagination, resonate with the depths of the human experience, offering insights into the complexities of creation, the weight of choice, and the enduring power of faith. More than a historical record, Genesis is a wellspring of wisdom, a source of enduring truths that continue to shape our understanding of ourselves, our world, and the divine. As we've journeyed through its pages, we've encountered the majesty of creation, the tragedy of the fall, and the unwavering faithfulness of a God who never abandons his creation. We've witnessed the forging of covenants, the wrestling with destiny, and the unfolding of a divine plan that encompasses generations. Genesis, in its profound simplicity, reminds us that we are not isolated individuals, but part of a larger story, a narrative woven through time by a God who is intimately involved in the lives of his people. The stories of Genesis, passed down through generations, continue to shape our moral compass, our spiritual understanding, and our place within the grand tapestry of creation. They offer guidance for navigating the complexities of life, for grappling with questions of faith, and for finding meaning in a world often shrouded in uncertainty. Genesis, in its timeless wisdom, invites us to embrace a life of purpose rooted in the unshakable foundation of a loving and ever-faithful Creator. Section 2, the echo of Genesis. The influence of Genesis extends far beyond the confines of religious texts. Its themes and narratives have permeated art, literature, music, and even our everyday language. From Michelangelo's breathtaking depiction of creation on the Sistine Chapel ceiling to the timeless tales of Shakespeare, the echoes of Genesis resonate throughout Western civilization and beyond. The stories of Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, and the Tower of Babel have become archetypes, shaping our understanding of human nature, the consequences of our actions, and the enduring power of hope. The themes of creation, fall, and redemption, so powerfully presented in Genesis, continue to inspire artists, writers, and thinkers to explore the deepest questions of human existence. The search for meaning, the struggle for identity, the consequences of choice, the longing for connection with something greater than ourselves. These are all themes with roots firmly planted in the soil of Genesis. Even in our modern secular age, the echoes of Genesis persist. The environmental movement, with its emphasis on stewardship of the earth, finds resonance in the creation mandate given to humanity in Genesis 1:28. The ongoing struggle for social justice and equality reflects the inherent dignity and worth bestowed upon all people as bearers of the divine image. Genesis, in its enduring relevance, continues to shape our conversations, inspire our imaginations, and challenge us to create a world that reflects the goodness and justice of the Creator. Section 3, a journey begun, a story unfolding. Genesis is just the beginning, a foundational chapter in the grander story of Scripture. Themes of creation, covenant, sin, and redemption find fulfillment in Jesus Christ. The journey in Genesis leads us to understand our place in God's redemptive plan. Genesis invites us to embrace faith, walk humbly with our Creator, and participate in the unfolding story of redemption.